Hey everybody, I'm Chef Todd and welcome to Under the Apple Tree, where I grow, build, and of course cook my way towards a handmade life. Today we're going to talk about lasagna, one of my favorite handmade comfort foods. Just a lot of fun with this. Everyone has that grandmother or knows the stories of the Italian grandmother that throws together this lovingly created casserole that just warms you from the inside out. So sit back and I hope you enjoy it. So here we are back at the cutting board. We need to cut up our celery, our carrots, our onions, our garlic, and our basil to get them ready to make up the sauce. Like I said, I like to do this handmade, so I have a wonderful jar of homemade tomato sauce from earlier this season. When I can my tomato sauce, all I do is reduce it down, try to get the juice in the tomatoes, and I don't add anything to it. So it's completely naked. I could use it for chili, for tomato sauces like this. I could use it for Bloody Mary mixes, all those kind of things. Kind of just leaves it open to all kinds of possibilities. So first we need to do is season this up a little bit, and the direction we're going to go is our classic mirepoix of onion, celery, and carrots, a little bit of basil, and a little bit of garlic. And let's keep chopping that stuff up. So we're going to chop this fairly small. I don't want to cook the sauce out too long, so we're going to go small in our cuts. Remember to protect those fingers and let the knife do the work. Celery is real easy. You're just going to slide down that, chopping it about a quarter-inch thick. The carrots we're using are organic, so I didn't peel them. I just used like a potato scrubber, cleaned off the dirt a little bit, and they're ready to be chopped up. Of course, you want to take off the tops and not use those. Everything else, though, is usable then. And then a few pieces of garlic. And as we've seen before, we're just going to smash those a little bit, and then follow up by chopping them up. And then we have our basil. As you can see, we just have some leaves here. And the classic way of cutting these is to roll them up like this. This is called chiffonading basil, and it helps cut it without bruising it so it doesn't brown and you keep all the good flavor and oils locked in there. And again, you just want to let your knife do the work. Slide through. At this point, this is a chiffonade, and these are really nice. You can unroll those, toss them around a little bit, and it makes a really nice garnish in the kitchen. We're going to take it a step further though, turn them this way and just chop it up the rest of the way. So the last thing will be our mushrooms. We're going to just chop those fairly big. We want them to stay, this is going to cook in the sauce for a few minutes and then in the oven for about 40, so you want to make sure they maintain some of that body. So we're only going to get maybe about 4 or 5 slices out of each one, nice and thick. I'll get the rest of this stuff cut up and I'll meet you over by the stove. So here we are back at the stove. We're getting ready to prepare our sausage and sauce to put in our lasagna before we layer that all together. So I've got a good sized kettle here going. We're going to put a little bit of olive oil in there. And today we're using a pre-seasoned ground pork. It's mild, so it has some fennel in there, a little bit of red pepper flakes. Otherwise, we'd add those things to our sauce at this point, but this should add plenty of flavor. We're just going to try to pop that, small chunks and drop it in that way. So I break these up nice and small so I can control the size of them and the cooking. And then when we stir, we just want to make sure that we don't break them down smaller yet. Get the rest in there. I'm going to wash my hands before I stir it. Some of the fat from our pork has rendered out and is kind of adding to that flavor and building that flavor of our sauce. So now we're going to add our veggies in there. Remember, we have our onion, celery, carrots, and garlic all in this mixture here. And again, we're just going to stir that around, give us a few minutes for everything to soften up. And then we'll deglaze with wine and our tomato sauce and just kind of finish it up. And then it'll be time to build our lasagna. So Ross and I used to have this French chef in town who ran a great Italian restaurant, Mario. And I asked him one day, I was commending his soup. It was so good, this great seafood chowder. And he said, let me tell you a secret about my sauces and my soups. It is this much stock and this much wine. So of course we want a nice red wine to put in our tomato sauce today. So we're just going to pop that open real quick. So the reason why we have our wine is we want to be able to deglaze this pan. And again, we've talked about that in the past. That's just getting all these bits of sausage and veggies off the bottom of it and make sure they're in our sauce. You know, generally I like to use one that's been left over for maybe the night before or whatever, but there's no leftovers around right now. Gonna stir again a little bit. And we have our homemade tomato sauce. So we have our basil here that we chiffoned out and cut up. That's going to go in there. And our mushrooms. So here we are, final step. We just need to build this thing up and throw it in the oven. So it's all downhill from here. We're going to just do layers of sauce, noodles, cheese, and spinach. And that'll make it up. So let's hit it. For that first layer, you just want a little liquid mostly in the bottom of that pan. That's just to make sure that our noodles don't stick to the bottom. For noodles, we have the straight to lasagna. So we have a ricotta cheese here. We're just kind of spreading that around. As we smush this whole thing together, this is going to get spread even better, so you don't need to be too meticulous about it. With a pan this thick, I usually get maybe 3 or 4 layers. Try to get your noodles to cover as much as you can and put a little bit of pressure on them. So we have that there. I'm going to put a little bit of spinach on top of that. And then a good amount of mozzarella or blended Italian cheeses. And there we go. We're going to take some aluminum foil, oil that, put that over the top, bake this at 400 degrees for about 25 minutes, take the cover off, and give it another 10-12 minutes till it's hot in the center. So let's just get that in the oven then. Oh, right on. Pretty she looks. She's all ready for the dance. Our lasagna had about 45 minutes or so in the oven, and we can't end up with just this piece of art here. Look at this. Nice caramelization on the cheese. It's been sitting for a little over 10 minutes now, which is integral to a successful lasagna. You want to make sure that you give it time to rest so those liquids are reabsorbed by the noodles and it kind of stays apart. If you just cut into it right away, you're going to end up with that soupy mess. We've let it sit long enough where it's still going to be a little messy, but we should be able to get a full piece out. Make sure your knife is nice and sharp and just a little jagged movements to get through that cheese. Oh my gosh, can you guys smell that yet? You go here, just have a little spinach on the plate for a bed. And the moment of truth. This is always a scary part of lasagna. Look at that. That is gorgeous. Definitely one of my specialties, one of my favorite things to make. You can get one yourself at lunch at the Apple Tree Cafe and Catering. Newly opened. Remember to follow us on Twitter at Apple Tree Show. Subscribe and comment down below. And we'll see you next time under the apple tree.